start off by telling you a brief anecdote. So it was 2 years ago when I was a senior at college, and I was napping in my car. No, I wasn't drunk, but I was just napping, and then I woke up to somebody knocking on my window, and this person was asking for spare change, and I was kind of reluctant to open the door because I was scared. It was late at night, and because I wasn't opening the window, he pulled something out of his jacket, and it was his veteran's ID. So, but I really had no money, so I couldn't give him anything. But and I couldn't believe that a U.S. veteran could be reduced to begging on the street for change. But now, in retrospect, I believe I think he could really be telling the truth. Apparently, many U.S. veterans are not being treated with the respect and dignity that they deserve. And I'm very concerned about this, and I hope my speech today will give you an opportunity to think about this and think about the way in which we as a society can solve this issue. So there are two primary reasons for concern, and one is difficulties for them in transitioning into civilian life, and second, inadequate health care that they have. So before I go into my main topic, let me ask you something. Have you ever gone on a long vacation and not driven your car for like 3 weeks, and then came home, gotten into your car, and noticed how odd it felt to, put your car into drive and have your hands on the steering wheel? Then think for a moment how awkward it would be for soldiers who have returned from a war zone back to their civilian life. While some veterans make a fairly smooth transition, some veterans have quite a difficulty adapting to a new life. And according to a study done by Pew Research Center, veterans who had emotionally or physically traumatic experience were at the greatest risk of having difficulties readjusting to the civilian life. The lingering consequences of a psychological trauma are particularly striking. The probabilities of an easy reentry drop from 82% for those who did not experience a traumatic event to 56% for those who did, a 26-point decline. 26% point decline. In addition, veterans who served in the post-9/11 era report more difficulties returning to the society than those who served in World War I, Vietnam, Korea, suggesting that this is an ongoing issue, and we must all be well aware of this. As a VA hospital volunteer, I've witnessed lots of veterans at our facility who, unfortunately, are suffering from what's called post-traumatic stress disorder. According to the National Institute of Mental Health, PTSD is an anxiety disorder that some people get after seeing or living through a traumatic or dangerous event. And PTSD can manifest in various symptoms, including but not limited to reliving the event, avoiding situations or people that trigger bad memories, self-destructive behaviors, and hyperarousal. Soldiers are a group of people that are highly susceptible to PTSD, as they often carry for their lifetime the haunting memories from their war service. Aside from these emotional, psychological burdens that they already have, veterans are more likely to be jobless and have service-connected disability than the civilian population. This problem is more prevalent among veterans who served since September 2001. According to the 2013 report by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate for these post-9/11 veterans has dipped slightly in 2013 to 9%. That's down from 9.9% the year before, but well above civilian unemployment rate. Of about 7% over the same period. And for the youngest of these veterans, those aged 18 to 24, 7 percentage points higher than their civilian counterparts. I just noticed that I lost the page. Oops.
Do you remember how you wanted to
There are lots of,
close it?
I didn't think, there,
Thank you, Haji.
thank you. I'm sorry. Okay. These young veterans are entering the workforce with far more skills and experience than their civilian peers, and so logically they should be employed at higher rates, not lower. The same report by the BLC also indicates that 29% of veterans serving since 2001 have a service-connected disability, compared with 15% of all veterans. Let me now discuss another area of concern, which is inadequate health care for veterans. When young American men and women sign up for military service, they are told that if they're injured, they will receive prompt and adequate health care. They're told that if they're disabled, they will receive adequate support. They're told that their families will be taken care of. And these are promises that have been made. In other words, the U.S. veterans deserve their access to an exceptional care. It's not a privilege that they're asking for. During political campaign seasons, politicians make promises and say sweet things towards veterans, but obviously not many of these have been kept. CNN and Fox News have unanimously voiced their concerns over veterans who are dying because of delays in diagnosis and treatment. Barry Coates is one of the veterans who suffered from a delay in care. He was having an excruciating pain and rectal bleeding in 2011. For a year, this person went to several VA clinics in North Carolina trying to get help. But the VA's diagnosis was hemorrhoids, and he was simply told that he might need a colonoscopy. He waited months, and the pain was only getting worse. And many months later, he was finally told that he could get a colonoscopy. About a year after first complaining to his doctors about his pain, Coates got a colonoscopy, and doctors discovered a cancerous tumor the size of a baseball. And the now 44-year-old man is undergoing chemotherapy in an effort to save his life. High suicide rate among veterans is also a big concern that stems from poor health care. According to the data released by the Department of Veterans Affairs themselves, 22 veterans take their own lives every day. That's a suicide every 65 minutes. A recent analysis by News 21 report that the annual suicide rate among veterans is about 30 for every 100,000 of the population, compared with the civilian rate of 14 per 100,000. Veterans attempt suicide for different reasons. Combat stress is one, and military sexual assaults are another. As President Barack Obama said in his recent speech, we must work together as a society to end this epidemic of suicide among our veterans and troops. I live with a deep sense of gratitude and responsibility towards the veterans, and I think so should you. Whether you were born in the US or in other parts of the world, these veterans fought to protect your freedom in one way or another. And so it's not somebody else's problem. It's your problem, and it's a threat to the national security. These US veterans answered the call of their nation and fought selflessly to protect not just their own people, but the world of freedom and democracy. And now it's time for us to protect them. I would like to end my speech tonight with a quote from George Washington. The willingness with which our young people are likely to serve shall be directly proportional to how they perceive veterans